Welcome back to the Swider Show, episode 29, with my boy Paddy Casey. Paddy, this is becoming a routine now. We're just pumping out episodes every single week. People didn't think we were going to make it this far, but we're here, episode 29.
Yeah, silence in the doubters. Starting to become second nature. I don't know if I want to apologize, Swider, or say you're welcome to the listeners for the longer pre-shows because I don't know. Last week was like 40 minutes. I think the first 2 months, the first like 10 episodes, if we tried to get to 40 minutes, I don't know if we could have. But conversation just starts flowing now, a little more open. But yeah, I mean, it's been very fun. Last couple episodes have been very big.
Yeah, no, it's been fun, man. It's been fun. So this week we decided to do something a little different for the Swider Show with Paddy Casey. So obviously Austin Reaves has been killing in the playoffs, a friend of the show. We decided this week that we're going to rerun the interview with Austin just because throughout this week, I've been around the guys this whole entire week, and I just don't want to take them out of the rhythm. They're so locked in. Obviously, LeBron has everyone playing at a super high level and has everyone locked into the scouting report and just everything that goes into it. So we thought it'd be an appropriate time to rerun the Austin interview. And Paddy, I think one of the cool things about this is that the perspective that Austin gave us in that episode compared to what it is now. Obviously, you guys will hear a much improved. How much better we've gotten at podcasting,
right? Yeah,
but you also hear just how much things have changed for Austin in his life, his perspective, and now he's getting ready to probably sign a big contract after this season, and it's just a crazy turn of events from the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, the interview was awesome. He obviously goes like very in depth about his background. It was recorded October 13th, which was 4 days before the start of the season. So I don't know. He was in a way different spot. We were in a different spot as podcasters, like you mentioned. So the other thing, Swider, we got out in front of his name, maybe the hottest in all of the NBA right now. I don't know. We'll get into it with Copycat League. There's some big debates going on. But on Sunday, I mean, he just completely took over the game. So when they see Austin Reaves, I'm sure there's a lot of people who will be like, "Oh shit, they got Austin Reaves on this week." It is recorded October 13th, but it's the same quality of interview. So you got to download, you got to listen to it again. Even if you listen to it at the time, I'll be honest, I was in the conversation. I don't remember much of what was said. I just remember it be very high quality. So I'm excited to listen to it, re-listen to it myself. So I would definitely encourage you to, if you think, oh no, I already listened to it, stick around. It'll be worth it.
Yeah, and the thing about Austin is that he would probably come on the show if I asked him, but it's just like I don't want it to be something where it's like he feels like he wants to do it just for our friendship, right? Like it has to be the right timing for me.
Yeah, and tomorrow night is game 2. We're recording this Tuesday. Wednesday's game 2, and then you guys will listen to it. Hopefully, well, I'm going to make a prediction here when you guys are up 2-0, when Austin is up 2-0. So it'll be even more relevant then. But yeah, all listeners, put yourself in Swider's shoes there. Like, you don't want to be the guy nudging him in the middle of the playoff series. Like, hey man, can you come on my pocket? You know what I mean? Like, I think anyone could relate to that.
Yeah, because when the rookie next year has a podcast and he's bothering me to come on during the playoffs, and hopefully I'm a big part of the team by then.
Exactly.
I might do it, but I'll be like, come on, bro, you just gotta get some better timing.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we know. We know the timing. We know the relationship. So he'll be back out in the future. But maybe he'll announce him signing the bag on the Swider Show. Imagine that.
That would be amazing. Hopefully a Los Angeles Laker for a very long time after that.
Yeah, we're praying for that. But hey, relevant. Austin completely took over the game at the end of game 1. You guys win in Memphis, but how was it? How was the playoff atmosphere? That was one of the more entertaining games of the weekend. The entire NBA playoffs has been awesome, but yeah, I don't know. Give a little recap for the listeners of how it went. Your first game in is it FedEx Forum still?
FedEx Forum, right? Yeah, it is. No, I would just say the whole entire atmosphere was amazing. Just the playoff physicality is the first thing that really jumps out at you. I know everyone says it, and everyone says, "Oh, it's a totally different game from the regular season." One thing I will say is that teams are so well scouted at this point that you kind of just have to play off your concepts at this point, off the things that you do, right? And at the end of the day, the best players, and this might be a little bit of a thing that we were able to take advantage of, but usually your best players are going to win you the games in the playoffs. Right. We had and Austin and Rui are two of our top 6 players without a doubt, right? Like they are great players, but Austin and Rui kind of carried us to the victory, which made it so much
Yeah.
more of like, wow, like we have a chance to do this because Pat, I think the thing that we've kind of talked about over the years and talking about the teams that are going to make a run is like, who are those role players that are going to step up for you in those
Mm-hmm.
moments where your star players are missing shots, right? We talk about the
Mm-hmm.
Celtics and the Bucks having those players of like Derek White and like even like a Drew Holiday, a third option. You know what I mean? Like a guy who
Yeah.
can score 30 in a
You need
game.
guys that are going to win you those games, especially on the road too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. It was like last week we talked about it with Trevor Lane. I asked him for round-out candidates. Then we fired off the clip at him, put it together a great clip. But his answer was Austin. And I don't think it's any secret. Like Rui and Austin, I saw them in interviews. They're saying like when you're coming into the game, when you're coming into the series, in your locker room, fans, everyone's like, yeah, if LeBron and AD like do what they do, then it's really tough to beat you guys. But then to get that like benefit of the doubt where LeBron at the end of the game is still playing off the ball. AD was dominant the entire time on both ends, but like it almost gave those two guys relief to the point where it's like, all right, I know I'm gonna have a night where like LeBron's gonna have 40 and close out the game. So Austin's going right now. Like let's ride this out. And I don't know. Ultimately, it ended up working out. And like you're saying, it's just so necessary if you actually want to make like a legitimate push.
Definitely, man. And just the whole entire atmosphere in general, like the Memphis fans were rocking just the whole entire pregame atmosphere and just the hype going into the game, right? They're a 2 seed, they've had a great year. Obviously, they've had some ups and downs in terms of like Ja and the injuries they have. They don't have Steven Adams or
Brandon Clark,
Brandon Clark right now. So they're not, they don't have their full team, but it's like we're coming into this part of the season where if we make those trades a little bit earlier, we're probably not in a 7 seed. So it's 2 great teams going at it, and yeah, I'm just excited for the rest of the series. Hopefully, I mean, I would never wish injuries upon anyone. Hopefully, Ja is able to come back and be healthy for the rest of the series, and we're able to get a full. I mean, at least that Memphis team for us to play against. But
right,
we're excited. We're locked in, and LeBron is just watching him in this mode has been an amazing experience.
Yeah, can you expand on that? Like, what's the difference between the regular season and like this last week with the playoffs actually starting?
Yeah, Phil Handy had a great. He went on All the Smoke and he was talking to Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson about his first year in Cleveland, how he was with LeBron, and he was like, man, like this dude don't play hard during the regular season, like he doesn't do certain things like that. And I wouldn't say I had that type of experience with LeBron because I think since game 12 he's turned it up a notch because he knows where we had to be.
Stakes. Yeah.
Like there was a stretch where LeBron was playing like 42 minutes a night just so we could like win games, right? Like he has 47 in Atlanta. He has 40 on all these different teams trying to will us to victory.
Yeah, he had that stretch around like December, January where it was like 15 games where he's averaging like 38, 10, and 9 or some shit.
Yeah, he was just at a whole entire different level, right? So I haven't had that experience, but from the level that he was at to the level he's at now of just trying to break down the game in a whole entire like it got to a point where our coaches were like, LeBron, like we got to simplify this a little bit. like
it was too complex for like anyone else.
I think everyone kind of understood it, but to be able to do that in game, it's a lot sometimes, right? And
yeah.
I think a lot of these NBA systems are hyped up to be very like complex and like really hard to understand. But I would almost argue the opposite. I think a lot of these NBA systems are pretty simple, just so they give the players the freedom to kind of go out there and play without thinking. And LeBron's quote to that was like, "Hey, like I like complexity. I like difficult in the playoffs. Like I like breaking down these games and watching them." And he's just done an amazing job trying to explain to us how he feels, what he feels we can do in this situation. And he has 100 different ways we can guard every single action. It's just like, and it's been amazing just to kind of be there, see it, and like understand what he's talking about, but also being able to realize what else we have done in the past and what else works, right? So he's able to see both of those things. And it's cool because like they say, like where we are game 1 isn't where we're going to be game 5, game 6. Like we're going to keep on adding stuff.
Yeah.
We keep on getting stronger and stronger in our scouting report and our scouts and everything like that. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. Like from your end, it's your first time in there. Like you're seeing all the schemes and everything. The other thing with LeBron is like it's insane how quickly he's able to apply everything that he's thinking. Like you could see on the fly throughout a game. I saw a video. You probably saw it on Twitter too, where he was like trying to peek at the Memphis clipboard, the assistant coach, or I think Taylor Jenkins was talking to someone, and the assistant was like kind of blocking LeBron, so he couldn't see it. LeBron was like, "That's all right. I'll figure it out anyway." And then like you watch the rest of the game, it's like, yeah, he probably did. Just you could see him dissecting mentally like the entire game, and then he's able to just apply it in real time, which literally no one else maybe ever in the history of the sport can do.
So one of the cool things about this playoff series is that I'm running through all Memphis's plays, right? I'm on the scout team. I'm on the team that's like I'm Jaren Jackson on the scout team.
Oh, let's go.
So we'll watch one play, or we'll watch 5 different plays, right? And we'll watch them like one time each. So for me, if I run through plays probably 3 or 4 times, I can get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's like, to me, that's a high basketball IQ.
Oh, for sure.
LeBron will
there's a lot of players out there in like college and everything that can do it 100 times. They still don't have.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I've never understood that, but it definitely exists.
Yeah. So we probably watch 5 plays one time, and LeBron is telling everyone on the scout team where to go.
Really?
Yeah, it's just an unbelievable, just like basketball IQ that he has.
It's like a photographic memory.
It's unbelievable. Like he was like, Shaq, get in this corner. Cole, you're in this corner. Shaq, you're coming over the top and curling this one, and then going into a step up screen. It's like, and this is like the 4th play out of the 5 plays, and he's telling me and Shaq where to go, and
oh my
it's just
God.
like, I'm thinking about the first 3 plays,
right? Yeah.
4th and 5th play, right? And I'm not saying these are like super complex plays that involve 17 different actions, but like to watch 5 plays one time,
yeah, especially
and be able to
usually when you're trying to learn, like you're like, all right, I'm going to be in this position.
Yeah.
So if I'm the 2 guard, I'm going to watch what the 2 guard's doing, and then I'm going to figure it out. The fact that he's like all 5, you go here, you're running off here while this is also happening.
Watching it one time,
wild. That's one of the better stories you've told on the pod.
Hey, we're just trying to get better out here.
Wait, so how much are you guys practicing? Like throughout do you practice both day? Like, is it? I'm sure yesterday was pretty much a way lighter day, given that you played on Sunday.
Yeah. Yesterday was a film day. We went over film and kind of were able to bounce ideas off each other. They had some adjustments that we wanted to make going into game 2. And then today we got out there and practiced. And on both days, they had the guys who don't play a lot of minutes. We went to the gym and we played live both days. So
nice.
Having that ability to obviously have a film day with like this older group, and then obviously be able to go on the court today, go walk through some things, have the scout team just maybe go like 50%. For these guys, like it's something that's important for these guys, and LeBron's able to see it in real time and really like be able to break down the whole entire defense and tell it and be like, AD, what do you think here? AD, you're the MIG on this side, most important guy from the weak side. Like, what do you think you should do on this side? Hey, like
the MIG, MIG,
yeah. So
let's go.
That's like the low man. The low man is
okay.
We call it the
MIG.
right. And then so Jaren Jackson, I mean, like Jaren Jackson is a guy who's particularly like a left hand dominant player when it comes to going into the post, right?
Yeah.
So AD being that weak side defender, it's like, hey, AD, like we saw that he can make right hand shots. Maybe you're a little bit more aggressive on that side. Maybe you stunt a little bit more, right? So just having those little adjustments here and there. Obviously, I'm not going to show our cards.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't have to get too much into scheme, but AD on Sunday was so like disruptive to everything that Memphis did. I think I underestimated. A lot of people did. Like going into it, I think the biggest concern was like, if Ja starts getting downhill. But the other day, it was like, I don't think there's another person in the league that you would elect to be guarding him off that ball screen than AD.
It's just unbelievable that he can block 7 shots, and obviously it's unfortunate the charge ended up in Ja like breaking his hand.
Yeah, it sucked.
Didn't have fracturing his hand.
Yeah, it's like I saw that he just basically like re-aggravated the injury that he already had.
Yeah. But like
So,
AD took a charge and blocked 7 shots. Like I don't know a lot of guys who takes charges and blocks 7 shots. Like
yeah, he
to me
just disrupts everything.
that's just a winning player.
100%. But I don't know. We could talk about that all day long. But that's why I think the biggest news coming out of the game actually was you making league fits. Did you see that coming?
So I didn't see it coming. But one thing I will say, shout out to my man Jay Vassallo. We just started working together. That. Yeah, so
stylist.
Jay Vassallo is my new stylist, but it's funny because me and Jay go back to when I was a freshman in high school. He was at St. Andrews as a sophomore. I was a freshman, and we've kind of had like this close relationship ever since. He's actually from Syracuse, a Syracuse guy.
No way.
So a lot of connections out there. But yeah, so Jay is close with the guy who runs League Fits, the guy who actually started the company. So yeah, I mean, I knew it was a possibility, but obviously you have to get some good pictures. You have to get some good quality, get a quality fit on there. And honestly, the post did really well. The post did really well.
It blew up. A lot of people. I was reading all the comments. Like no one was really clowning you for it. Some of those, like I don't know, some of the outfits other guys wear, the comments will be pretty brutal. But yours was, I think it was a good mixture of like casual, just a pretty normal outfit, but it was a good fit. But Swider, I don't know if you're putting that together a year ago.
No, definitely not. One thing I told Jay is like, bro, I'm not this flashy guy who's gonna do all this stuff. Like, I want to be simple. I told him the first time we talked about like, because fashion is something that like I'm not naturally huge into, right? But it's something that like I would like to get into in the future, right? Like being on a two-way, you don't make all this crazy money to like go out and buy all these different clothes, but you make enough money where you can have a couple fits here and there. Mm-hmm. So one thing I told Jay, I was like, hey, like I want to be simple but efficient.
Right.
Like,
I mean, that's what that fit was. And recently, it's been a definite upgrade, especially with the playoffs. More eyes on you. You know, you're not dressing, so you're right behind the bench. You're getting a lot of camera shots. So yeah, I approved.
Hey, Paddy, I appreciate that, man. And shout out Joe Girard from the beginning of the season. He threw a comment on my Instagram post, sweater with the typical black tee, black jeans, and a chain.
I remember that. Yeah, the chain and the Air Forces.
I actually got a call from, or I got a text from one of my guys who helped me out with pre-draft, Connor Andrews, and he told me that I definitely won most improved. Like
I think I agree with him that
in terms of fashion
from beginning of the season to the end of the season, it's uncanny.
So shout out to my man Jay Vassallo.
Yeah, it's big time. We might have to get him on the pod. But the other thing relevant, our interview today that was recorded 7 months ago, Austin had just made the sweatshirt, sweatpants, untied forces combo like just his uniform.
Yeah, no. So when I started working with Jay, he was like, hey, like, you think there's any way we could like I could talk to Austin, get in touch with Austin?
Just no shot.
I probably knew the answer that was going to happen like before I asked Austin, but I was like, hey Austin, don't shoot the messenger. But like this guy that I know from high school, really good guy, like he would do your fits for basically free. Like he was just wondering if you'd be interested. I was like, nah, that's not me. That's perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine. Yeah.
Perfectly fine. I was just asking just so I did that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, he's getting to the point now where it's like he's known for it, so I think people like it. You know what I mean? Like it's his thing now.
It's unbelievable. Maybe it's just because of the phenomenon that he's created around himself, but he gets on every single time we walk in the arena.
Dude, every single post. I do think he's probably the third most popular player on the team right now, just out of sheer like Bleacher Report posts.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're playing into that, but yeah, I mean, it just looks like any person like walking to class, going to the grocery store, showing up to practice, anything.
Yeah, and I think that just plays into like who he is as a person. You know what I mean? Like, there's like this certain thing of like Alex Caruso and like Austin like looking like the average man that make them like so marketable to like any fan base around the country. And then like no disrespect to Alex Caruso, like hopefully one day we can get him on the podcast. Hopefully I get to meet him and he's a great guest,
of course.
But like Austin has like. I ran into Dave McMenamin at Starbucks yesterday. David McMenamin is the Lakers beat reporter. Hopefully,
Right,
we'll be on
right.
the podcast at some time. ESPN.
Absolutely.
And he asked me, and I wanted to bring this up too. It's like he asked me, he was like, "Hey, like this sounds crazy, but like people around the NBA are saying like Austin Reaves could be an All-Star someday."
I mean, he's showing flashes of it. Like when you're like, I don't really think it's that crazy. Like if you said that at the beginning of the season, it probably is. But like, he literally closed a playoff game where Anthony Davis and LeBron are in the same uniform as him.
But like, just it sounds crazy, but it's not that.
It's
crazy.
really not that. No, not at all. Especially the sample size now has reached like 25 games where he's averaging basically 20 a game, and is like as good in a pick and roll as almost anyone in the league.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd throw that in there just because it's getting to a point where it's like it's undeniable. It's undeniable.
Right.
Like he's literally going out there every single game, can control the game in so many different ways, from passing the ball to like they don't even go at him anymore.
No, yeah, they know he's like not a bad defender. The other
Like
thing
he's
is
actually
the playing
he's a good
game against
defender.
100%. The playing game against Minnesota, he didn't necessarily like have his best game. I think he went 4 for 13 or whatever, but he's still impactful. Like you need him out there for 30 plus minutes.
He had like 14 points, like made big plays at the end of the game. Like
he's also completely fearless.
Wasn't afraid of any moment. And this is a part of our. I mean, we kind of talk about this with him in our interview from October, but there's just like this certain level of like he has that perfect level of like arrogance and confidence.
Yeah, he just doesn't give a fuck.
It just meets like right in the middle, and this fearlessness, right? And it's just like Colin Gillespie. Like I've talked about this about him as well. Like he kind of has that same type of thing, but just like it's just an unbelievable thing just to be around and be a part of it. It's inspiring. Like you kind of want to have that like mentality of like, I don't care, but I care so much. You know what I mean? Like it's just like that perfect mixture.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I don't care, but I care so much. Because you can tell he's so competitive, but he doesn't. Yeah, he looks like he's playing so careless and like so free, but at the same time, he's so competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually a killer. That's why he's on the podcast today.
Yep.
Very relevant.
And a scratch golfer. And a scratch golfer.
Yeah, how about that? When I come to LA this summer, I might have to see if that's the truth.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, unbelievable. Hopefully, he keeps it going for this entire run. I think he will. But Swider, mailbag question of the week. We've been talking a lot of playoff hoops or Lakers playoff hoops, but this is from Mark. He asked, "What do you guys think has been the best / most entertaining series thus far?" We kind of just use this to recap whatever series we want. You can take this in any direction you want, but
I think it's obvious.
Your answer besides yours, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's obvious Lakers, right now. The Kings Warriors just been phenomenal 2 games, right? I mean, whenever there's things going on, and like it's almost like guaranteed that Draymond's going to stir some shit, whatever series he's in.
That's dipping into the copycat league segment, so we'll just marry the two here. What is your take on that whole situation?
I see both sides because Sabonis did grab his foot,
right?
And there is a point that if Draymond tries to get out of there, he'll probably fall and get tripped up. And Sabonis might get thrown out of the game for that, right?
Right.
I think it was the most Draymond Green thing I've ever seen in my life to like have that moment of like yelling at the crowd, he's grabbing me, and then just totally just like stomp his sternum and like jump up in the air and like actually like, that's probably the highest he's gotten in a long time. So I don't know. I think
he did like a heel kick when he jumped off Sabonis' chest. It was like a mini trampoline.
Yeah,
that was the funniest part.
I was talking to someone about this today, like his competitive spirit and how much like he puts into the game and the intensity that he goes about it with. Like he's screaming in the crowd. He's like, "You gotta love this shit."
Yeah,
like it's just he's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the fact he was doing that and he was like yelling at the crowd, cursing at people, and then 10
Yeah,
seconds later, they're like, yeah, you're ejected. He freaks out. I don't know.
yeah.
I kind of saw the ejection, but people calling for him to be suspended, I don't agree with at all.
I don't agree with that
I think
either.
that's way too excessive. But Adam came off mute. He's got his camera on. He has to give
I'm
his
very
take on this. So Adam, go ahead.
I'm very excited to make this connection because no one's ever compared anything on this podcast to the 21-22 Syracuse Orange, but I'm ready to do that today. Um, if you remember back in the ACC tournament, Buddy Boeheim got
Right.
suspended, right? And there was a whole discourse on whether or not he should have been suspended. And I think this is a very similar situation. And I think his dad, Jim Boeheim, said it best back then. If you punish during the game, then you don't punish afterwards. If you don't punish during the game, then you have to punish afterwards. Draymond Green got ejected from the basketball game, and now the Golden State Warriors are down 0-2. So I think if Draymond's in that game, they could possibly come back and win.
Yep.
But they didn't because Draymond wasn't there. They probably have 40% part of it is because Draymond wasn't there of the loss, at least. So now that the Golden State Warriors have to fight back from,
are you on Draymond's side here then? Theoretically,
I'm gonna get there. From a league perspective,
my fault.
From a league perspective, you can't suspend now after taking him out of that game yesterday. Now Golden State has to go back home and try to win 2 straight just to get back in the series. They could have definitely stolen one. Now, does Draymond Green, does he have to stomp on him there? No, but like, what else do you expect? It's Draymond Green. He's going to do something. He's amped up in the moment, and he needs something to talk about on his podcast. So I think that
whoa. We're not in the business of insulting other players' podcasts, Lewis.
I didn't insult the podcast. It's probably doing the
Sure
best numbers he's had.
Sure,
no,
you
I didn't.
did. That was one of the classic. That you should practice more rather than podcasting.
I don't know about that. All I'm saying is he's going to get good numbers on this podcast.
I'm just busting your balls, but I actually agree with that take. I expected you to be on the side of Sabonis, to be honest with you.
I don't think I liked him stomping, but he got ejected for it. So, I think.
I just don't love. I don't love the people acting like he just stomped on him for no reason. Yeah, it was excessive, but like it was also a retaliation. Like if Sabonis doesn't corkscrew his leg there, then he probably doesn't do anything. But Sheridan just sent in the chat. Go ahead. We'll go around the horn here.
I guess making my New Year's debut, maybe. I
Wait,
don't know.
hold on, real quick. We're gonna actually do it like around the horn. I'll be reality here. I'll be Tony Reality. Swider, I give you 5 points. I'll give Lewis 6. Sheridan, You go ahead.
All right. I gotta beat 6 points. Well, I agree with everyone so far. But I love Draymond. I think he knew what he was doing. I think he knew that he was going to face a consequence, whether it was the flagrant 1, flagrant 2, just a technical foul. He wanted to get his team going, which I respect. Maybe he didn't have to do it in the way that he did by stomping on Sabonis, but then again, Sabonis also didn't have to continue to hold on to Draymond. So that obviously sparked Draymond's thought process and going forward and committing the actions that he did. But for Draymond to receive flagrant 2 on that, I'm not really sure about it. I've seen people do worse. I've seen people, get a little more under the carpet. But overall,
a
little dirty. Overall, it is a dirty play. Not a basketball move. I side with Draymond.
Here's a question. Does he get suspended if the series is 1-1 right now? I think he does get suspended if the Warriors come back and win that game. And I think he's not getting suspended because it's 0-2.
I kind of think it's ridiculous there's even a question that he's going to get suspended, honestly. I don't know. I mean, if he didn't get ejected, I guess I could kind of see it, but I don't think the difference in what he did versus what Sabonis did is as drastic as people are making it seem. But good takes, fellas. Sharon, I'll give you the win. You got 8 points. I kind of zoned out when you were talking, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. Yeah.
I'll leave my last.
I heard you say you like Draymond though, and I've always liked Draymond, so I'll take that. But I think I'd have to agree, Swider overall. I think the Kings Warriors probably been the most entertaining series. Kings crowd is ridiculous.
I think I might have said this last week, but out of all the arenas that we've been
playing
to,
in Summer League or playing in G League, isn't it like still wild?
yeah, no, for sure. But like, I think out of all the arenas I've been to, like, we were at Warriors opening night, right? Like, but I know Boston and Philly are known for having a great fan base. I definitely said this last week, but like Sacramento's the hardest place that we've had to play in terms of their fans and how passionate they are.
Just a raucous environment.
Yeah, Mo Bamba even said this like last night when we were playing cards. He was like, Sacramento's been rocking every game I've played there, and that's a Magic Sacramento Kings game 2 years ago.
Yeah,
when the records were probably like 22 and 60 and like 15 and 67. So, shout out to Sacramento. They obviously have a great fan base, and they actually really care about their team. And it's actually refreshing too, because it's like they were thinking about taking that team out of Sacramento and moving to Seattle.
I know. Yeah, that would have been like actually tragic. I mean, Seattle could use a team, but I don't think they should take. It kind of makes you wish other places were like that.
No, for sure.
But without further ado, I think we can wrap that up here, Swider. We're at like over half an hour. I forget how long that interview with Austin was. I think we were we were still getting seasoned, so it's close to like 50 minutes. Very good takes. You'll be able to watch that on YouTube as well, because we didn't put out the video the first time. That'll be an added bonus this time. Like I said, if you listen back then, listen again, download again. They still count. We weren't with Blue Wire at the time. We're still a free agent. So, yeah. Anything to add, Swider?
Yeah, Adam sent a big stat. This could be our stat of the week, actually, Paddy. I know we haven't said a stat.
No, we haven't done. Yeah, Sheridan's been MIA. He's been working a lot of weeks. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
He's busy. He's studying.
Right.
He's reffing games. Like
he's got to eat lunch. Yep.
Yeah, this guy is just nonstop work all the time. But Adam Lewis sent a big stat in our group chat. 10,000 downloads on Blue Wire. Let's just get a.
Oh, total? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
No way.
That's a big accomplishment for the Swider Show. So
clap it up.
Yeah, we'd like to thank all you guys for tuning into the Swider Show every single week. We're still growing. We're still getting better. Podcast is ever evolving. So
right.
Keep on tuning in. Keep on showing love. Obviously, keep on sending your questions into the Swider Show at swidershow@gmail.com. And yeah, we're gonna keep going. Keep doing this thing every single week. And yeah, just. Hopefully,
that's amazing.
But by the time you guys hear this podcast, we're up in the series 2-0.
2-0. Yep. And then the Austin interview will do 10,000 itself. So looking forward to that one.
Without further ado, let's kick it over to Austin. Austin Reaves.
I appreciate y'all for having me. Like I said, anything for my boy.
Yeah, man. So we just flew in from LA. We had a game last night and kind of the quick NBA turnaround. We're just getting right into it. Play SAC tomorrow and for our last preseason game. So obviously, first question that me and Paddy always like to ask is recently just talk about preseason, how that's been going, and obviously just kind of going over your performances and how the team's looking so far.
I mean, there's a lot of new faces, so it's going to be a little shaky just from that standpoint. But I feel like it's been a good vibe all around the team, performance. I just try to plug and play wherever I can, help the team be successful. But can't wait to get the regular season started and, have fun with the new group.
Yeah, for sure. I've been saying, I think the vibe's been great on the team. I think we obviously have a lot of characters on our team, but just overall, it's been a pretty good start. Obviously, wins and losses haven't been too indicative of that, but preseason, Bron's just getting used to playing with everyone and everything like that. But yeah. Obviously, starting from kind of just, we won't go like too in depth in terms of just Arkansas stuff like that. But just first question from that aspect, what was it like kind of growing up in Arkansas and the basketball culture there?
I mean, it's what I knew, so it was normal to me, but probably not for everybody. I grew up in a town of 1,100 people. My graduating class was 52, so super small. Sports, all in all, was, I mean, it's a big thing, but like you don't get really high level talent in those types of places. But it's some of the most fun I've had playing basketball or any sports in general, just because you play with guys that you've known since you were 4 or 5 years old. So I would say it was really fun on that, just because, like I said, you've known them for so long, the chemistry you have, and like I'm a big chemistry person when it comes to sports. So just knowing, where people are going to be at the right times is big in sports. So it was a lot of fun. Didn't get the offers, that I thought I should have had, but I found a way.
Awesome. First of all, thanks for coming on. I'm going to do my job as a co-host here and actually speak. I'm sure the listeners are getting a little worried I wasn't here this week, but I am here, guys. I am here to participate in the interview. Swider, I mean, you mentioned there's only 1,100, 1,200 people in your hometown. So I was curious, like, when you go back now, are you just like a legend? Because I'm sure, I come from a pretty small town, not that small. I'm sure there's not many Lakers players that are going back to your hometown. So is everyone like, are you like the Michael Jordan of Newark, Arkansas, or what?
Yeah, honestly, but I don't like to claim that. But it's kind of been like that ever since I went to college. I think I was the first D1 kid to ever come out of my school, and really the area, honestly. But when I go back now, I think it's so small that like everybody, so everybody knows that I don't really like the attention. I just like to chill, play golf, play basketball, and that's it. So everybody really, leaves me alone for the most part. But it's really the little kids, which I really don't care about, just because, I want to make the younger generation happy and give them some hope.
Yeah, man. I obviously just playing with Austin now. He's the most humble guy I've ever been around. From the first day I met him, I was like, yeah, you had a hell of a year last year. I was like, yeah, man, it was okay. Made a couple shots. But, yeah, also kind of going off of that, just talk about your senior year of high school, kind of what went into your college decision, what schools were recruiting you, and what other sports you played in high school, because, Paddy, you
I gotta cut in real quick here.
Go ahead.
Given that you're talking about, I mean, Swider saying you're one of the more humble guys around, you got to tell the story about your career high in high school. Because, like, when I was looking up articles, I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, do you know this?
No, he told me.
I didn't tell him. I didn't want to tell
the story. Yeah, you got to tell the story of this game.
Yeah, so it was 73. We were actually playing the team that won the 5A state championship. So it goes to 7 in Arkansas. We were 3 at the time. They were 5, but arguably 5 was the best class as a whole. They ended up winning the 5A state championship that year, but it was a track meet the whole game. It was 3 overtimes. The final score was 117-115. I shot 38 free throws, I think. I think it was 35 or 36 for 38, something like that. But it was one of those that I looked up. I think at the end of regulation, it was like the fourth, and I had 58 or 59. I was like, damn. And then I didn't look up until the end of the game, and I honestly thought they had a typo. Like, I was like, they messed this up, because there's no way I just had that many points. But yeah. I went in the locker room, everybody was going nuts. So it was,
I mean, like any basketball game you play in, it's like 40s obviously a lot. 50s like, holy shit, he has 50. 60s like unbelievable. Then 70 is like inconceivable. 70 is inconceivable.
So also, are we talking about 16-minute halves, or
this one we played? Yeah, 8-minute quarter.
32 minutes.
So Kobe has 81 in 48 minutes.
I was just about to say that. There's been like 3 70-point games outside of Wilt in the history of the NBA. And you're just doing it in an Arkansas high school game. It's unbelievable.
I knew it was going to be a game. I knew it was going to be a game like that when they was calling the starting lineups, and you go over to shake the other team's coach's hand, And the dude literally, like, I go over to shake his hand regular, and he daps me up and was like, "Let's hoop." And I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be one of these. Like, it's just gonna be, it's gonna be a track meet."
Hold this 70.
And our coach the whole time was like, "We can't run with them. Like, we don't even need to try." And I was like, "We're gonna try."
Yeah. I mean,
all right, so now back to my question, Austin.
Thanks, sorry. I that was just like we needed to cover that.
Oh no, for sure.
Yeah.
But back to my question. Just talk about your college recruitment, some of your other hidden talents that you have, and just talk about your recruiting journey in general, and then the decision you ultimately came to.
Yeah, so I only played 1 year AAU. I played baseball growing up, which always was kind of a conflict for basketball, but then got burned out on baseball. So I played my last year AAU, and that's really when I got any type of interest. Like my junior year, I had talked to a couple, a lot of D2 schools and then a couple small D1 schools. And that was really it. Senior year, had a really good year. And I think I ended with like 3 offers. And then when Wichita offered, I was like, all right, this is definitely going to be my best offer. They had just come off the Final Four. They had Ron Baker, Fred VanVleet. They were a really good team. So the culture was good around there. I took a visit there and was like, yeah, I'd be stupid if I didn't, jump on this opportunity real quick. So that was really it. I didn't really have a lot. Everybody was saying I was too unathletic, couldn't hold my own. I was too skinny, all that kind of stuff. But bet on yourself and everything will work out.
What were some other schools that offered you?
So it was Wichita State, South Dakota State, like Montana State or something weird like that. But the crazy thing is like my mom and dad both played at Arkansas State. And we had a 4-day tournament there every year. And like the scoring title for the 4-day tournament was like 130. And I hate talking about myself, but like I averaged like 49 for the tournament and still didn't get an offer. So it was one of those, like it was like I did literally everything I could do and nobody would offer.
I always give credit to those coaches who were at like Montana State and South Dakota State who offered, like Colin Gillespie, right? Like
right.
Same type of thing. I give the guys that holy name a lot of credit, you know what I mean? Where it's like, all right, like they offered this kid before Villanova did.
Yeah.
Same thing with Austin.
That's great. Is like the Montana State and South Dakota State coaches are definitely watching you like kill it for the Lakers, and they're like, yeah, that's my guy. I was on him early. For sure. You know what I mean? Like I had an eye for him like right away.
For sure.
Yeah, it's like we saw the talent when no one did.
No, that's facts.
Exactly.
That's facts.
But yeah, just kind of going off of that, obviously you have a big time senior year, and then you decided, obviously went to Wichita State. Talk about the transition from Arkansas high school basketball to Wichita State. Obviously you had a crazy journey at Wichita State and everything like that. So let's talk about that transition from those two not polar opposites, but just two different levels of basketball.
Yeah, so I graduated high school at 17. I was 6'5", $160 maybe. So I was skinny. I'll never take that away from college coaches when they looked at me. But I mean, it's hard. It's not hard to get in the weight room and lift and put on weight.
A legit 6'5", Paddy, not the 6'5" you said you are.
You can tell.
I'm closer to 6'6", but yeah.
Depends on what shoes I'm wearing.
5'11" on a good day.
Yeah, if I'm wearing some Kyrie's, I'm like 6'7".
Yeah, but it was. I mean, I'd never played with talent like that. When I played AAU, I wasn't on the EYBL team. It was a hand-picked side team. I wasn't good enough to play on the EYBL team. So I was, for the first time, playing guys that were, don't want to say better than me, but like physically more gifted, more athletic. And Wichita is not like a one and done type school. Like you had guys that were 20, 22, 21 years old that me being 17 trying to compete against. But it was just, it was like my whole mindset. Basically throughout all the basketball is like figure out one thing you can do to get on the court. and do that really well and then expand. So that's what I did my freshman year. I didn't play a lot, like 11 or 12 minutes, but going into my sophomore year, played probably 21 minutes a game, and I mean, we were really successful there.
So, one of the things that we talk about all the time is like, obviously we both transferred, and you're one of the most gifted patchers I've ever been around. But talk about how your role at Wichita State. They were like, obviously, me at Villanova, you were Wichita State. Like, talk about how your game kind of evolutionized once you transferred, and then like what was like kind of like your role at Wichita State, and what got you on the floor? Was some of those things you were just talking about?
Yeah, it was really just catch and shoot and compete on defense. Like at that time, I wasn't physically gifted enough to actually be a good defender, so I had to take charges, dive on the floor for loose balls, all that stuff that's not fun. But that was never my game. Like I did that just so I could get on the court. Like I was always a point guard, always try to get others involved in. So when I was transferring, I was trying to go to a situation where I could be more myself. And like we had played Oklahoma the 2 years that I was at Wichita, and like the way Coach Crew let his players play was something that attracted me there. And when I got there from day one, like it was, be yourself. So it led me like honestly, like just play basketball again and like really find the joy in basketball again.
So you have a good few years at Wichita State, and then you ultimately decided to transfer. But at the same time, like when I was at Villanova, like I felt like that prepared me for the next level. Do you think if you didn't go to Wichita State, you would have had the same mindset going into the NBA, playing with obviously LeBron and Russ and AD, and being able to fit in like you said? If you didn't have that experience?
I mean, not to the extent that I needed. Coach Marshall was a very strict coach, and you had to do exactly what he wanted you to do, and that kind of it bleeds over to now. I mean, you got to do all the stuff that's not fun, and dive on the floor, take charges, and figure out how to support guys that are arguably the best in the game. So I will say that Coach Marshall did prepare me for what I've done the last year or so.
I was curious about you're one of the last like transfer classes that actually had to sit out a year, and obviously you go from Wichita State, you have a full year off, and then you're in a completely different role when you get to Oklahoma. So I was curious about that year and like if you focused on specific stuff and kind of what your mindset was and how big that was for you for getting better and kind of the role that you had at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I wanted to redshirt my freshman year at Wichita, and I went to coach and was like, "Yeah, I want a redshirt." He basically told me no, and then I got hurt. I had dislocated my shoulder, and I wanted to get surgery on it mid-year so I could take the rest of that year and then the full summer to be. Because I was still going to get my medical redshirt, so be prepared for my sophomore year, but it'd be a medical redshirt year. So he told me no again, that I was going to play. And then sophomore year, he told me, or at the end of freshman year, he was like, we'll talk about it next year, but we were going to be really good. I think we got to third in the country. So like we had a squad, and I didn't want to miss out on, potentially making a run. So kind of pushed that to the side. So when I was leaving, like I was kind of prepared to, take the year just to try to get, better in all aspects. But the main one was just get in the weight room and get stronger. It sucked though. Like the year sitting out was horrible. Yeah. I thought I was good with it until like games rolled around, and then I'm sitting on the sideline with like I couldn't do anything. Like I could just talk, and that's it. But it sucked, but it was something that I really needed.
Yeah, you're the ultimate gamer too. So I can only imagine what. I'm not saying Austin's not a practice guy, because obviously Austin has improved so much in the game, but Austin is definitely a gamer.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So yeah, obviously you decided to transfer after a couple years at Wichita State. What kind of went into that decision, and talk about the transfer recruiting process and how much different that was than high school?
Yeah, so we had 6 seniors, I think, my sophomore year at Wichita. And then Landry Shamet was entering the draft, so that's 7. And then we had like 4 or 5 guys that were transferring as well. And nobody even thought that I would leave. Like, I didn't even think that I would leave, honestly. And then, but with all of that happening, like, and I will say, coaches, like, he's tough to play for. So you bring in a whole new group of young guys that you don't really know how to handle, how they're going to handle that situation. So I just thought it was, best for me to, go find a fit for me that's better for myself. And then at that point, the recruiting process from that point was completely different. Actually, funny story, I had class, I think Marshall told me to keep quiet on me transferring. It was like on a Saturday. And he told me to keep quiet to like a Thursday because we had recruits in town. I was like, you know what? I can do that. Like, I don't care.
That's so real.
And which I was cool with. I didn't care. Like, he had gave me opportunity. So whatever, I'd, repay the favor. But somehow it got leaked on Tuesday because I had class like 8:30 or 9 in the morning. And like my mom would always call me like 8 in the morning. So I'm asleep Tuesday morning and like my phone is going off. So I roll over, don't even look at who's calling me, and I just answer. And it was
reporter,
coach
Juwan Howard?
No, the
John,
one before.
John Beeline.
John Rothstein?
Beeline.
John Rothstein?
It was Beeline, and he was like, Austin is Beeline from Michigan, and I was still asleep. So I was like, why what are you calling me for? He was like, oh, I see you entered the transfer portal. And I was like, it's not supposed to be out. And he was like, oh, well, it's out. Like, Twitter, go look, whatever. And I don't even have Twitter, but he was like, it's out. And it was just, from that day till I committed to Oklahoma, it was people calling me left and right. Like, I had a lot of offers after that.
How quickly did you commit to Oklahoma? Because I know, Swider, you were, like 2 or 3 days to Q's?
Yeah, 3 days.
It was that fast?
But we couldn't even go to any visits because it was COVID year. So, and I didn't
yeah, that's true.
Everything like that. And I knew I wanted to play for Bayheim and sit 2-3 zone, shoot threes.
Sounds like the life. It was, I honestly knew pretty quick. But my people wanted me to take other visits, so I went to Purdue. I actually went to Northern Iowa as well. I was real close with their coaching staff. But I knew, because I went to Oklahoma first, because it was like a 2-hour drive from where I was in Wichita. Went down there like it's basically like a week after I got my whatever release papers, and knew that's where I wanted to go, but just out of courtesy for my people, I went and looked at a couple other places, and then I was done. I didn't really like the whole process. I don't really like talking to people like that, so I was ready to get it over with.
So obviously you transferred to Oklahoma. Talk about that transition. Talk about your junior year and kind of like just. Well, obviously you sat out. You were kind of talked about that, but your first year playing, like just talk about that, how that transition was, and how that obviously that year off kind of prepared you to play in the Big 12.
Yeah, so the Big 12 is tough. It's just there's so much defense. Like, all coaches just preach defense, which sucks because if you want to like really get active, like, it's hard. So if you average like 13, 14 in the Big 12, I consider you to be really good. But it was a good year, junior and senior year, pretty kind of similar. I think end of junior year was when COVID happened, and we got in the tournament. We squeaked in the tournament, but we were really like just catching traction. Like, we had a bunch of new guys, nobody that ever really played together. So we're catching traction, and we had a good draw. So it sucked that everything shut down at that point, but 2 good years there, and just catapulted me to the next level.
Talk about your development between your junior and senior year at Oklahoma, right? I remember one of the things when I came in is like, I was like, wow, you're an unbelievable passer. You're like, yeah, like my junior going into my senior year at Oklahoma, like I wanted to show I was a point guard. So all I did that summer was pass and just learn how to play with other players. And one of Paddy's favorite players, Brady Manick.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
No, the other thing, well, this is like a serious question that's adding to your question. I can't make a joke. But talking about your passing, such a fascinating question to me is like, are you thinking about the passes you're making, or is it just all instincts? Because I'm firmly of the belief, like I've gotten in this argument with people, that it's like 95% instincts. Like when you throw a good pass to anyone, like that pass through to LeBron in the air last night, like are you thinking, or is it all instincts?
I can agree with you. It's like I would say 90% instincts, and then but like I hate when like announcers like so last night when I made the pass to Brian, I'm pretty sure one of the announcers was like, "Oh, he got caught in the air." Like, no,
worst.
I baited that to happen. Like, I seen it coming the whole time, but like the one I threw to Cole in the corner, it was like, all right, I'm gonna try it. Like, that's the kind of mindset I have. Like, it's probably hurts me at some points just because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just basically fuck it. I'm gonna just throw it.
I think people don't like factor into being a really, really good passer. You can't be afraid to have like 6 turnovers. Like 100%. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like you're just gonna let it fly, and like you might get picked off. You might look dumb sometimes, but other times, like, wow, that was a sweet pass.
100%.
Paddy's acting like he's like a really good passer all of a sudden. I don't know.
What do you? I mean,
you're a score first guard.
No, I'm not. No. I definitely led Syracuse in practice turnovers, but there was a couple times where I'd be like, "Oh shit."
So Paddy would always play against the 2-3 zone. Like he'd be like, he would either throw an alley-oop dunk or just a turnover.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I looked like Jay Will though, and it was like, oh wow, look at that. Yeah, when it works out, it's like, I don't know, it's worth the risk.
Yeah.
Going back to my question, Austin. Just talk about your junior, senior year, just kind of the change that you made within your game to kind of propel yourself to an NBA or consider yourself an NBA prospect.
Yeah, like you said, I wanted to make it a point to where I was a point guard at that time. I think everybody thought of me just to be a shooter that could score. But my whole life, like I said, I've always got the most joy of like getting everybody else involved. So, like you said, that summer, I was like, I'm going to make it a point to the coaches that I'm the best point guard on the team. And even though that they probably didn't even think I was a point guard at the time. So all summer, I literally was just, I don't know, I didn't shoot that much. I was just passing it the whole time. Just like I said, to try to get them to be like, okay, yeah, like you're our best option at the 1. And other than that, like it was just getting in the gym, skill work, and then on top of that, getting stronger.
Yeah, one thing that people don't really give you credit for is that you're like a sneaky athlete.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Paddy sent me that video the other day of you getting Steph on that move. It's like, wow.
Unbelievable. Yeah. That was crafty too. Like that was like a mix of a lot of things. That actually leads me to, I wanted to ask about a specific play in your senior year. This might be bringing up a bad memory. It ended up being your last college game. But it's kind of like what Swider said before. You guys play Gonzaga, who I'm sure all the listeners remember. They're undefeated to this point. I think it was Sweet 16, right?
Nah, 32. It was the second round.
Okay, my bad. But you end up having like 28, 27 in that game. And there's a clip like the first play of the game where he does the Swider, like, dead dribble with his left leg, and then you like throw it across and do a reverse layup. Do you guys like watch your own highlights after that? This is a question for both of you. Like, are you like, oh shit, like I gotta watch this after the game?
I honestly didn't know it was that tough until like it was posted everywhere. So it was like, yeah. I had no option. I had no option than to see it. Like I got on my phone and it was like first 5 posts. That's what it was. I'm not a big fan of watching my own highlights because I know for one thing I do good and there's probably something I do really dumb. So I stay away from my highlights.
Yeah, to answer that question I probably had one like major highlight this year, and that was my Wake Forest dunk. So,
Oh no, you got a lot. I mean, was that the Wake Forest dunk that's in the intro? The backdoor Swider.
No, that's actually from
No, that's a
League.
different one. Yeah, exactly. Oh, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, every now and then I'll throw down a dunk, kind of like Austin. Every now and then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I gotta be feeling real good to do that. 2 points is 2 points. That's how I think of it.
Yeah.
Must have feel good the other day.
No. I didn't want to dunk it, but I had to.
Oh, you had to.
Yeah. A decent move. You got to cap it off.
Yeah. But obviously, that year, that COVID year, we talked about it with Colin a little bit, and Colin has a very strong opinion on the COVID year. Well, how was that COVID year for you? Because we are like at Villanova, we were locked down, couldn't really see anyone. Talk about how like that year kind of just affected you and everything that was going on.
It didn't really affect me that much. I'm a homebody. I play the game a lot and hoop. Other than that, I mean, I could golf too. So everything that I really like to do, I could do. I didn't really go out, chilled in the house. So it was really like, it's kind of nice for me, honestly. Like, I didn't have to deal with a lot of people. They definitely didn't have to go to class, which was amazing. But yeah, it was nothing really changed for me.
Who have you guys golfed against each other yet, or no?
And we've played together.
Yeah, I wouldn't say against each other. It's not
What?
Austin's like a scratch golf. Austin's a scratch golfer.
Come on, that's
No,
unfair.
I'm serious. Patty,
No, I'm saying like
Patty, me and you are comparable. Like
that's just not true either.
What? Are you good?
I'm like, all right. I'll shoot like mid 80s.
He's not good.
If
you said mid 80s,
like at best mid 80s. Yeah,
mid 80s is a good score.
That's like once in a blue moon.
Yeah, we played twice. I think the first time I beat Swider by like 25, and then Swider beat me by like 2 the next time. So he threw.
Get out of here, bro. I think you quit that time we played.
Dude, that was a Monday. I had a long day of graduate classes. You wouldn't know.
Oh yeah, all right, LaValle. After your senior year, obviously you guys lost to Gonzaga in the second rounds. Talk about just kind of the process after the season, like how you went into hiring an agent, and then after that, just the draft and just those draft workouts, because we talked about 18 draft workouts.
18 draft workouts?
18. It was kind of like the recruiting process. I didn't really enjoy it. It was, people just, a lot of agencies just say the same stuff. Like, we're going to do this, and this. But, I didn't want to be another number, so I went with an agency that didn't have nobody. They have a bunch of overseas guys, so I kind of wanted to be the first. And like at the end of the day, I always thought that like it would come down to like if you could hoop or not. Like if you can't hoop, it don't matter. Like, but if you got game, then at the end of the day, you'll figure out how to get in the situation that you want to be in. So I went with, like I said, guys that didn't have nobody. I knew that they were going to work every day to put me in the best position. And I wanted to build something. Like I wanted to help them, because it'd been kind of like my story with basketball. Really no offers, like 3 offers, whatever. And they've been in situations where they had come really close to getting a really good player and not get him because they didn't have a guy. Like they didn't have a guy in the NBA. So, being the first for that is special because like I have a really good relationship with both of them. Both really good people. And like the draft workouts, I did 18. It was a long summer, like long. I remember I think Boston was my last workout and I was just so ready to get it over and go back to the house, I think, for 2 days before the draft. And then right after that, I was in LA. But it was fun. Like I got the chance to compete against, a lot of guys that were supposed to be better than me. But it was a good summer. I felt like I handled everything the way I needed to.
Yeah, so obviously you mentioned you signed with LA, you move into Summer League. Watching you play, I'd definitely describe you as kind of just having a knack for like making plays. Seems like, even if you're not maybe shooting it well, it's like you play good defense, kind of just find a way to impact the game whenever you're there. So is that sort of your mindset going into summer league right off the bat? Like you're just like, okay, I'm just going to play my game and kind of just try and like fill up the box score no matter what, areas I'm actually doing it in.
Yeah, I mean, I knew going in like it wasn't going to be the best basketball, and it's not good for me if it's not good basketball because that's what I mean. I like to think that I play good basketball 95% of the time. So I knew going into there it was going to be not great basketball, and then on top of that, every NBA team's got guys. Like you got Bronze, ADs. Like it don't even matter if you go to like we're in SAC. You got De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis. You got guys. So you don't need to go in and try to get 25. You need to do all the little stuff, play defense, box out. Just like I said, little stuff like that. So that's what I really wanted to do. And it didn't matter. Like I shot it horrible in summer league, but it was all the other stuff that, I mean, apparently caught the right people's eyes.
Yeah, just going off that, obviously, summer league is one of those things where it's all right. You're in Vegas, you know what I mean? Like you're playing a game every other day, and then obviously if you're not winning, it's even more brutal. Did you guys play in the California Classic last year too? Yeah. So playing 8 games in 17, 18 days is tough for sure, especially if you're not winning. But so one of the scouts I was talking to the other day, Paddy, was like, yeah, like Austin like didn't have the best summer league in terms of shooting the ball, but we could tell from the beginning that he was going to be able to fit with LeBron. Yeah. Austin, talk about how just going from summer league, maybe not playing as well as you wanted to, if that was even a thought, to obviously going into training camp and just trying to prove who you were and obviously getting converted pretty early.
Yeah, so it was actually Bronze mini camp last year. We went to Vegas for Bronze mini camp. We did basically the same stuff we did this year, played well, shot it well, and that's when I got converted. So it was the Sunday before, so we had media day Monday, Tuesday training camp started. So the Sunday before training camp is when I got converted. So that was a sigh of relief. Like I didn't go into training camp like, having to like not press, but like I got the spot, so like I could really just go be myself. And then from day one, that's what everybody, preached to me. Like I had Bron, AD, Rondo, just telling me to be who I am, like IQ guy that plays the game the right way, and everything will fall into place after that.
Yeah, no, you can tell just the way that Austin plays. You know what I mean? It obviously fits those 3 guys, but at the same time, he makes his presence known by diving on the floor. You know what I mean? Making an extra pass to Bron to get him going, or hit Bron on a cut. Especially now, I think obviously you've really been able to come into your own for that. So just talk about the season as a whole last year. You don't have to go too in depth, but what was one game that you felt like, all right, like this is a league I can play in. This team could use me. And then just talk about just the progression of your season last year.
Yeah, so it was actually the second game of the year. First game we played Golden State, I believe, DNP, first one of my career. That was the first time I ever been on a basketball team. And
no way.
Did not see the court. And it was like, I was with my agents, and I was like, well, y'all witnessed history tonight. Like, they was like, what? And I was like, this is the first time I've been on a team and not seen the court once. Like, yeah. I had games in college my freshman year where I only played like 4 or 5, 4 minutes, but never had a DMP. And then, so that was the first game. The second game we played Phoenix. They was beating us by like 30. And to start the fourth, coach threw me in. And I believe at that time it was me, Bron, Russ, AD, Melo on the court. And like I think I hit like 2 or 3 threes, got another bucket. And like we cut it to 10 with like 2 minutes left, or like 12 with like 2 minutes left. And then ever since then, like I was basically in the rotation. I kind of got, in and out, like spot times where I got DMPs. Maybe I wasn't shooting well or playing well, but for the most part, the whole year, other than injuries, I had a hamstring issue that I was out for probably 2 or 3 weeks. But other than that, I hit the ground running pretty quick.
I wanted to ask about a specific game, like early on. I think it was December. I feel like this was kind of like your coming out party to a lot of like the nation at Dallas, where you guys are playing. Yeah, exactly. You guys are playing on ESPN. LeBron says that you go 5 for 6 and then hit the game winner. Kind of like walk through your mindset in that second half, because obviously, I mean, you just completely went off and ended up winning the game for them. So
yeah, so I mean, it was just a regular game. And then we went into overtime, right? I think it was overtime. There had been like Russ had actually hit the three in the corner.
yeah,
And then
Wayne Ellington, I thought.
Wayne hit it to top. Russ hit it before Wayne.
Oh, yeah,
and then Wayne hit one in the three in the corner, same corner to tie it to send it to overtime. And in overtime, I believe they hit like 2 threes back to back that were just, I think, Kleber banked one in from the top of the key. So it's just some wild stuff going on.
yeah.
So that play actually, I don't know who it was on the bench, but I was standing in the right corner before we ran the play. We didn't really run a play, honestly. We were just running a slip screen with Wayne and Bron. And someone on their bench behind us, or behind me, was like, "You don't want it." And I literally turned around and was like, "Look, I'm probably not gonna touch it, but if I do, it's game." And yeah, I was like, if I do, it's over. Like, it's game.
Wow.
And literally, like, I don't ever really get caught up in the moment. Like, I don't know if it's just like, I don't know. I never get nervous, really, other than golf. I get nervous in golf. But basketball-wise, like, never get nervous. And literally, like, when the pass was coming to me, I was like, oh, shit. Like, I can't miss this now. I just told him I wasn't going to touch it, but if I did, it was over. And then, obviously, shot goes in.
And you get
arguably
raked.
a foul.
And you get raked.
Arguably, it was a foul, but they didn't call it. And then the next thing I see, I turn around and run to the other end, and I see Rondo at the free throw line, like, waving at the crowd. The game's still going on. The game's still going on, but crazy night. Actually, the whole fourth quarter, LeBron was on me. Like, I made a couple defense mistakes. I let Jalen Brunson get left, and basically it was no left, obviously. So he was on me the whole fourth quarter and overtime. But I know it was a good night for sure.
It's unreal.
Yeah, it's just like moments you dream of, right? Like a year before, you're in Oklahoma playing with, like, who knows? You know what I mean? And then 5 years before
also,
that, you were dropping 73. Hillbilly Kobe.
Maybe the best part, Hillbilly Kobe. Maybe the best part of that answer is you walking through hitting a game winner in a Lakers game on ESPN. You're like, I really wasn't nervous, but like golf, like if I'm standing over like a 10-footer, then like I get pretty nervous.
If I got people watching me in golf, not so much anymore.
Oh, it's the worst.
I'm more comfortable with my game now, but like back in the day, if I had people watching me, I'd get a little tight.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're scratched, then you don't have much to worry about. But
I don't know if I'm scratched yet. I'm like a 2.
So quick side note. So Austin played the other day. I was like, "Hey, Austin, how'd you play?" He's like, 76. Could have hit a putt all day.
Oh my God,
that was a very. I could have been 4 under through 3, but couldn't make a putt.
I was like, Austin, I honestly hate you now.
Come on,
You're a great guy.
When you're high school basketball career high is lower or is higher than what you're shooting in golf, that's like just outrageous. You're like, I scored 73 in a game, but like I'm shooting 72 on the golf course. I feel like that's just completely unfair.
Yeah. Unreal. But yeah, so obviously season came, season was over. Obviously wasn't the season that you guys wanted to have. Talk about just your mindset going into this off season, the summer that you had, not having to play summer league, and and obviously just kind of getting the confidence from the front office to be like, hey, like you're going to be a big part of our team this year.
Yeah, I think it kind of stemmed off of, the last game of the year. People will say, yeah, you wasn't playing anybody, which is true, like playing the other team's backups. But kind of got the chance to like really, really be myself. And then in the summer, like it was basically just keep doing what you're doing and then just keep getting better, get in the weight room, get faster, stronger, all that. But I mean, from day one of summer, like it's been the same message. Just keep doing what I'm doing, keep playing the right way, and like I said, everything will work out. And I mean, I feel like that's why I've been successful so far, just because I play the game the right way.
Austin only went home for 3 weeks this summer. Like he told me, he's like, I had to stay in LA. Just, and I mean, everyone comes out to LA for the summer, but Austin,
I was gonna say,
beaches or anything like that. He's like, I'm gonna stay in El Segundo and just.
I was in the gym,
work out 3 times a day.
Yeah, I was in the gym for sure.
Nah, but obviously, you had a really good summer. And then just talk about just kind of the transition to this new team. And obviously we talked about it a little bit before, but just talk about obviously August, September with the new guys and what your mindset is going into this upcoming year.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar to last year from a standpoint of like, we have 5 guys that was on the team last year.
Yeah.
I don't know the number, specific, but I mean, this whole time is just really a learning process of how to play with other guys, like people that you haven't played with before. Like playing with this guy was very easy for me because he plays just like my brother does. So it was very common. So I didn't have to change anything. But playing with others, you got to learn to give people the ball in certain spots where they'd like to have it. If they want to play in pick and roll, calling plays for them. Just stuff like that is, the main thing. But I mean, it's been really good so far. I feel like I said earlier, the vibe's been really good. I feel like we got a lot of talent, and it's just a matter of gelling it all together and having that unspoken chemistry. Because there's times on the court you get tired and you don't really want to talk that much, but teams that have played together for a long time, like Golden State, like they don't have to talk. Like it's literally known where they're supposed to be at all times. So that's what we're striving to be like. But it's been good so far.
You mentioned you and Swider having a pretty good, like 1-2 punch on the court. The play styles are so complementary, so it's pretty seamless. I was going to ask you guys sort of like mentor, mentee. You're in pretty much the same situation, Swider, is that you were in, last summer. So kind of just talk about your guys' relationship, how you've maybe bounced some advice off Swider. He's asked you some questions, and how you guys have grown together to being on this podcast as an honorary 4th guest.
It was very simple. It started off like I obviously watched Summer League, so I knew what he was really good at. And then when we started playing pickup in the summers, like I remember I went to Coach Gent and I was like, "Yo, like, give me Cole," like, and then you can base the team off of that. And we were winning a lot of games in the summer. Like I said, it was easy to play with him. And, as of advice, it's just like everybody told me, just be yourself. Like you don't have to go out and try to be someone you're not. Do what you do really good. And after that, and then just compete and play the game the right way, and he's going to be fine.
It also has been great to me in terms of just teach me how just to be a professional too. You know what I mean? Obviously, getting to the gym early, eating the right stuff, just ultimately just being an ultimate pro. So I've just been very thankful for Austin, and obviously it's nice being out on the court with him because he finds me. You know what I mean? And he makes my job a lot easier because a lot of time, as a shooter, you know what I mean, that first shot is big. You know what I mean? So playing with a point guard who knows how to get you in the right spot is like, hey Cole, like come for this dribble handoff. Hey Cole, come for this pitch. Hey Cole, these 2 guys are gonna come get you this next play. I'm gonna get you going. It just makes it so much easier for me. So I've just been very thankful for Austin. Obviously, he's a hell of a guy too. And actually, our relationship started with just we had a similar guy that we worked out with a little bit named Zach Gonzalez. So just having Zach, obviously, too, who worked for the team last year, no longer works for the team anymore. I think it kind of helped us get a little bit closer as well.
Yeah, shout out my boy Zach.
Shout out Zach, man. One of the hardest
Also,
working guys in the industry.
the personalities like mesh well together because Austin, I can tell you're a pretty like mild mannered, quiet guy, and Swider's probably the loudest on the team already. So
He's definitely one of those.
he's up there. Yeah,
He's up there
a lot of screaming going on.
There is that. I remember
that's fucking shooter in the draft video.
I'm just gonna say someone got dunked on this summer, and I didn't think he was ever gonna shut up, and he was screaming at the top of his lungs.
Sounds about right. Yeah,
Paddy, you would have loved it.
Who are we not naming names?
I don't want to put no one on blast. So
okay,
I would just say
that makes
Damian
sense.
Jones dunked on someone, and you know those dunks where you can climb up their chest.
Yeah, you get a little boost.
and they get even higher.
It's like LeBron in Cleveland last year.
Yeah,
he put his foot on someone's chest, and you're like, yep.
He did.
Or you, Smart, you had one of those in practice last year.
No, that was straight athleticism.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
That wraps up another episode, and thank you guys very much.